Then I heard the number of those who were sealed, 144,000 from all the tribes of Israel. This sentence from Revelation sets the stage for a mystery that has intrigued scholars and believers for centuries. Who are these 144,000 individuals, and why are they significant? The 144,000 are mentioned 3 times in the book of Revelation, and they are described as being sealed by God to be protected from the coming judgment. But what does it mean to be sealed? And why specifically 144,000? If you find this topic fascinating, be sure to check out our other videos on related subjects and consider joining our channel for more in-depth explorations. The sealing of the 144,000. After the tumultuous events of the tribulation, we encounter a powerful and compelling scene in the book of Revelation. For mighty angels stand at the 4 corners of the earth, holding back the winds to prevent any harm from coming to the land, the sea, or the trees. This dramatic pause is significant, setting the stage for something extraordinary. The angels receive a command: they must not harm the earth or the sea or the trees until the servants of God have been sealed on their foreheads. But what does this sealing mean, and why is it so crucial? The concept of sealing carries deep symbolic meaning in the Bible. A seal represents ownership, authenticity, and protection. In ancient times, a seal was used to mark documents, guaranteeing their authenticity and authority. Similarly, the sealing of the 144,000 serves as a divine mark of ownership and protection, signifying that these individuals belong to God and are under His special care. The seal sets them apart from the rest of humanity, highlighting their unique role and purpose during the end times. One might wonder, is this seal a physical mark, or is it something more spiritual? The answer lies in the deeper understanding of biblical symbolism. In Ephesians 1 verses 13 to 14, Paul writes about believers being sealed with the promised Holy Spirit. This sealing is not a physical mark, but a spiritual one, signifying that believers are God's own and are guaranteed their inheritance in Him. Similarly, the seal on the foreheads of the 144,000 is likely a spiritual mark, representing their faith, dedication, and divine protection. The timing of this sealing is also critical. It occurs after the tribulation, a period of great suffering and chaos. The sealing serves as a divine intervention, ensuring that the 144,000 are protected from the impending judgments that will befall the earth. This act of sealing highlights God's mercy and care for His chosen ones, even amidst the darkest times. The act of sealing the 144,000 is carried out by 4 angels, who are instructed not to unleash their destructive power until this crucial task is complete. These angels symbolize divine authority and control over the elements of nature. Their obedience to the command underscores the importance of the sealing process and God's sovereign plan. The idea of sealing and protection is not new in biblical literature. Throughout the Bible, we see instances where God marks His people for protection. In the Old Testament, during the Passover in Egypt, the Israelites were instructed to mark their doorposts with the blood of a lamb. This mark protected them from the angel of death, who passed over their homes while striking down the firstborn of Egypt. Similarly, the sealing of the 144,000 can be seen as a protective measure, ensuring their safety during the catastrophic events described in Revelation. Furthermore, the seal signifies more than just protection, it is a mark of authenticity and belonging. The 144,000 are marked as God's true servants, dedicated to Him and His purposes. This divine marking sets them apart, identifying them as a special group chosen for a unique mission during the end times. It also serves as a visible sign to others, demonstrating God's authority and the authenticity of His chosen ones. The sealing also carries a sense of urgency and importance. The command to seal the 144,000 before any harm comes to the earth highlights the critical nature of their mission. They are to be prepared and protected for the tasks that lie ahead. This urgency reflects the broader theme of readiness and vigilance that runs throughout the book of Revelation. Believers are called to be prepared, to stand firm in their faith, and to trust in God's protection and guidance. The sealing of the 144,000 raises several questions for reflection. What does it mean to be sealed by God in our own lives? How can we live in a way that reflects our dedication and belonging to Him? The story of the 144,000 serves as a powerful reminder of God's faithfulness and His promise to protect and care for His people. It challenges us to examine our own faith and commitment, encouraging us to seek a deeper relationship with God and to trust in His sovereign plan. As we explore the significance of the sealing of the 144,000, we are invited to reflect on our own spiritual journey. Are we living in a way that marks us as God's own? How can we ensure that we are prepared and protected in our faith? These are important questions that can inspire us to grow in our relationship with God and to live out our faith with integrity and dedication. Join the conversation and share your thoughts on the sealing of the 144,000. What insights do you have about this profound and mysterious event? How does it inspire you in your own faith journey? Let's discuss and learn from each other as we seek to understand the deeper meanings of this powerful biblical narrative. The identity and characteristics of the 144,000. In the book of Revelation, the 144,000 are described in a manner that has intrigued and mystified readers for centuries. They are depicted as a unique group, set apart from the rest of humanity, with distinctive characteristics that underline their special role in the end times. Let's delve into their identity and the traits that define them, exploring the deeper meanings and implications of these descriptions. The 144,000 are said to be from the tribes of Israel, with 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes. This clear association with Israel has led many to conclude that these individuals are ethnically Jewish. The precise distribution, 12,000 from each tribe, suggests a symbolic completeness, representing all of Israel in its entirety. This can be seen as fulfilling God's promise to the patriarchs that their descendants would play a crucial role in his divine plan. But why specifically 144,000? The number itself is highly symbolic. 12 is a significant number in biblical terms, often associated with God's people, 12 tribes of Israel, 12 apostles, and so on. When multiplied by itself and then by 1,000, it emphasizes completeness and divine order on a grand scale. This figure isn't just a random number, but a deliberate choice to represent fullness and perfection in God's plan. One of the most striking characteristics of the 144,000 is their celibacy. They are described as virgins who have not defiled themselves with women. This has often been interpreted as a metaphor for spiritual purity rather than a literal statement about their sexual lives. In biblical symbolism, sexual purity can represent undivided devotion and faithfulness to God. These individuals are wholly dedicated to God, without the distractions or compromises that can come with worldly attachments. Their celibacy also sets them apart in terms of moral integrity. In a world often depicted as corrupt and decadent, the 144,000 stand out as beacons of purity and righteousness. Their lifestyle is a stark contrast to the immorality and idolatry that Revelation portrays as rampant in the last days. This distinction marks them as God's faithful servants, wholly committed to His will and purpose. In addition to their purity, the 144,000 are described as being blameless and without deceit. This implies a level of moral and ethical integrity that is exemplary. They live according to God's commandments and are not tainted by the sins and deceptions of the world. This blamelessness highlights their role as spiritual leaders and models for others to follow during the chaotic times of the tribulation. Furthermore, they are said to follow the Lamb wherever he goes. This phrase signifies their unwavering loyalty and obedience to Jesus Christ, the Lamb of God. Their relationship with Christ is characterized by close fellowship and complete submission to his guidance. They do not waver in their faith, regardless of the trials and tribulations they face. This steadfastness is a testament to their deep faith and commitment. The 144,000 are also described as being redeemed from among humanity as first fruits to God and the Lamb. The term first fruits in the Bible refers to the first portion of the harvest, which is offered to God in thanksgiving and dedication. By calling the 144,000 first fruits, Revelation emphasizes their role as a dedicated and holy offering to God. They are the initial portion of a greater harvest, symbolizing the beginning of God's redemptive work in the end times. Their redemption is a crucial aspect of their identity. Being redeemed means they have been bought back or saved by God from sin and death. This underscores the transformative power of God's grace and the special relationship the 144,000 have with Him. They are not only chosen but also saved and set apart for a divine purpose. The focus on their ethnic identity as Israelites and their spiritual purity raises interesting questions about their role and significance. Are they meant to be literal descendants of the 12 tribes, or do they symbolize a broader spiritual reality? Some interpretations suggest that the 144,000 could represent the faithful remnant of Israel, while others see them as symbolic of the entire church, encompassing all believers who are spiritually pure and dedicated to God. This duality of interpretation adds a layer of depth to our understanding of the 144,000. On one hand, they affirm God's faithfulness to His promises to Israel, highlighting the enduring significance of the Jewish people in His plan. On the other hand, they embody the qualities of faithfulness, purity, and dedication that are expected of all believers, making them a model for the global church. Their presence in the narrative of Revelation serves as a beacon of hope and encouragement. Amidst the chaos and judgment described in the end times, the 144,000 stand as a testament to God's ongoing work of redemption and protection. They remind us that even in the darkest times, God is at work, preserving a faithful remnant for Himself. The 144,000 also challenge us to reflect on our own spiritual lives. Their purity, integrity, and dedication to God set a high standard for believers. Are we living in a way that reflects our commitment to God? Do we strive for purity and righteousness in our daily lives? The example of the 144,000 can inspire us to pursue a deeper relationship with God and to live out our faith with greater devotion and integrity. In conclusion, the identity and characteristics of the 144,000 in the book of Revelation offer rich insights into God's plan and the qualities He values in His servants. They are a unique group, marked by their ethnic identity, spiritual purity, moral integrity, and unwavering dedication to God. Their story challenges us to consider our own faith and encourages us to strive for a deeper, more committed relationship with our Creator. Share your thoughts on the 144,000 and how their example inspires you in the comments below. Let's continue this fascinating exploration together. Symbolism and significance of the number 144,000. The number 144,000, mentioned in the book of Revelation, holds profound symbolic meaning and significance. This specific number is not arbitrary, it is steeped in rich biblical symbolism and numerology, reflecting the completeness and perfection of God's divine plan. Understanding the symbolism behind this number can provide deeper insights into the text and its messages for believers. The number 144,000 is derived from the multiplication of two key biblical numbers, 12 and 12, multiplied by 1,000. 12 is a number that frequently appears in the Bible, often associated with God's chosen people and His divine order. For example, there are 12 tribes of Israel and 12 apostles. When we see 12, it typically signifies a sense of wholeness or completeness in God's governance. The number 12 squared, or 12 times 12, magnifies this sense of completeness exponentially. When this product, 144, is then multiplied by 1,000, it underscores an immense, large-scale completeness and divine perfection. In the context of Revelation, the number 144,000 represents a symbolic fullness of God's people, drawn from every tribe of Israel. This symbolic representation points to the idea that God's plan is all-encompassing and inclusive of all His chosen people. The 12 tribes of Israel serve as a foundational element in this symbolism, indicating a link to the historical roots of God's covenant with His people. By including 12,000 from each tribe, the text emphasizes that every part of God's people is accounted for and protected. Furthermore, the use of 1,000 as a multiplier is significant. In biblical times, 1,000 often represented a large, indefinite quantity, suggesting vastness and abundance. Thus, multiplying 12 by 12 and then by 1,000 serves to amplify the idea of an all-encompassing, perfect completeness in God's plan. It's not just a large number, but a symbolically large number that conveys the vast scope of God's redemptive work. The symbolism of the 144,000 extends beyond mere numbers to convey deeper theological truths. For instance, their sealing signifies divine protection and ownership. This protection is not limited to physical safety but encompasses spiritual safeguarding against the corrupting influences of the world. The 144,000 are sealed on their foreheads, a mark that signifies their allegiance and faithfulness to God, contrasting sharply with those who receive the mark of the beast, symbolizing allegiance to worldly powers and rebellion against God. This distinction between the sealed and the marked highlights a central theme in Revelation, the battle between good and evil, and the ultimate triumph of God's sovereignty. The 144,000, marked by God, stand in stark contrast to those who follow the beast. Their presence is a testament to God's faithfulness in preserving a remnant for Himself, even in the midst of widespread apostasy and judgment. The 144,000 also serve as a symbol of hope and assurance for believers. Their sealing is a promise of God's protection and faithfulness, reminding believers that God is in control, even when circumstances seem dire. This assurance is particularly poignant in the context of Revelation, which describes intense tribulation and suffering. The vision of the 144,000 stands as a beacon of hope, assuring believers that God has not abandoned them and that His promises remain steadfast. In addition to their role as symbols of divine protection and faithfulness, the 144,000 also represent the idea of being set apart for a holy purpose. Their celibacy and blamelessness signify a level of spiritual purity and dedication that sets them apart from the rest of the world. This setting apart underscores the idea that they are chosen for a special mission, to serve as witnesses and to follow the Lamb wherever He goes. The imagery of following the Lamb also carries rich symbolic meaning. The Lamb, representing Jesus Christ, is central to the narrative of Revelation. The 144,000's unwavering loyalty and obedience to the Lamb highlight their role as faithful followers, embodying the ideals of discipleship and commitment. Their journey with the Lamb signifies a deeper spiritual journey, marked by faith, perseverance, and a close relationship with Christ. Moreover, the concept of the 144,000 as first fruits to God and the Lamb adds another layer of significance. In the agricultural context of the Bible, first fruits were the initial yield of the harvest, offered to God as a sign of dedication and thanksgiving. By describing the 144,000 as first fruits, Revelation emphasizes their role as a dedicated and holy offering to God. This term also implies that they are the beginning of a greater harvest, symbolizing the larger work of redemption that God is accomplishing through them. The symbolism of the 144,000, therefore, encompasses a broad range of themes, from divine protection and faithfulness to purity, dedication, and the promise of a future harvest. Their story challenges believers to reflect on their own spiritual journey and to strive for the qualities exemplified by the 144,000. It encourages a deeper commitment to God, a readiness to stand firm in faith, and an assurance of God's unwavering protection and guidance. The discussion of the 144,000 inevitably raises questions about their identity and significance. Are they meant to be understood literally as a specific group of 144,000 Jewish believers, or are they a symbolic representation of all believers who are spiritually pure and dedicated to God? This duality of interpretation adds depth to the narrative, inviting believers to explore the multiple layers of meaning in the text. Whether viewed as a literal group or a symbolic representation, the 144,000 serve as a powerful reminder of God's sovereignty and his ongoing work of redemption. They stand as a testament to the fulfillment of God's promises and the ultimate triumph of his kingdom. Their story inspires hope, faith, and a renewed commitment to live in accordance with God's will. As we reflect on the symbolism and significance of the 144,000, we are invited to consider our own place in God's plan. How can we strive to embody the qualities of faithfulness, purity, and dedication exemplified by the 144,000? What does it mean to be sealed by God in our own lives? These are important questions that can deepen our spiritual journey and draw us closer to God. The mission and role of the 144,000. The 144,000 mentioned in the book of Revelation have a specific and crucial mission during the end times. Their role and purpose are embedded in the larger narrative of God's ultimate plan for humanity. To truly understand their mission, it's essential to delve into their depiction and actions as described in the biblical text, and to explore what their presence signifies for believers. Revelation paints a vivid picture of the 144,000 as devoted followers of the Lamb, which represents Jesus Christ. They are described as following the Lamb wherever he goes, signifying a deep and unwavering loyalty. This imagery suggests that their primary mission is to be in close fellowship with Christ, embodying the ideals of discipleship and faithfulness. By staying close to the Lamb, they exemplify the kind of relationship that all believers are called to cultivate with Jesus. Their close relationship with the Lamb also highlights their role as spiritual leaders and examples for others. In a world facing the tribulations and chaos described in Revelation, the 144,000 stand as beacons of hope and faith. Their presence serves as a testament to God's ongoing work and his commitment to guiding his people through even the most challenging times. This aspect of their mission underscores the importance of steadfast faith and the impact that devoted believers can have on others. The 144,000 are also described as being redeemed from among humanity as first fruits to God and the Lamb. The concept of first fruits in the Bible refers to the first and best portion of the harvest, which is dedicated to God. By calling the 144,000 first fruits, the text emphasizes their role as a dedicated offering to God. This designation implies that they are set apart for a special purpose, marking the beginning of a greater harvest that God is bringing forth. Their mission, therefore, includes being a sign of God's faithfulness and the assurance of his future plans for redemption. Moreover, the 144,000 are characterized by their purity and blamelessness. They have not defiled themselves, which can be interpreted both literally and symbolically. Literal interpretations see them as celibate, while symbolic interpretations view their purity as representing spiritual integrity and undivided devotion to God. This purity sets them apart from the corrupt and sinful world around them, making them ideal witnesses of God's truth and messengers of his grace. Their blameless nature means that they can stand before God without guilt or shame, embodying the righteousness that comes from a life dedicated to following God's commandments. This aspect of their character is crucial for their mission, as it allows them to serve as credible and powerful witnesses to the world. In their purity and integrity, they reflect the holiness of God and inspire others to pursue a life of faithfulness and obedience. The 144,000 also have a protective role in the end times. Their sealing on the forehead signifies divine protection against the judgments and tribulations that befall the earth. This protection is not just for their own benefit but serves as a sign to others of God's power and faithfulness. It reassures believers that God has not abandoned them and that He is actively working to safeguard those who are dedicated to Him. This protective aspect of their mission provides hope and encouragement to all who face trials and persecution. In addition to their role as witnesses and protectors, the 144,000 are also seen as evangelists. Some interpretations suggest that during the tribulation, they will spread the gospel and call people to repentance. Their purity, dedication, and divine protection equip them for this challenging task. As evangelists, they would play a crucial role in leading others to faith, ensuring that even during the darkest times, the message of God's love and redemption continues to reach those in need. Their mission as evangelists also aligns with the broader theme of God's mercy and desire for all people to come to repentance. Even in the midst of judgment, God provides opportunities for salvation, and the 144,000 serve as instruments of this redemptive work. Their efforts to spread the gospel highlight the enduring hope and possibility of redemption, even in the face of impending doom. Furthermore, the 144,000's mission includes a symbolic role in the cosmic battle between good and evil. Their presence and actions demonstrate the ultimate victory of God's kingdom over the forces of darkness. As followers of the Lamb, they stand in direct opposition to those who follow the beast, representing the stark contrast between the righteous and the wicked. This symbolic role underscores the broader narrative of Revelation, which emphasizes the triumph of God's justice and righteousness. The mission and role of the 144,000 are multifaceted and deeply significant. They are protectors, witnesses, evangelists, and symbols of God's enduring faithfulness and ultimate victory. Their presence in the narrative of Revelation serves to inspire and encourage believers, reminding them of the importance of purity, faithfulness, and dedication to God's will. As we reflect on the mission of the 144,000, we can draw valuable lessons for our own lives. Their unwavering loyalty to the Lamb, their purity and blamelessness, and their role as witnesses and evangelists provide a powerful example for us to follow. In a world that often seems chaotic and uncertain, the story of the 144,000 reminds us of the importance of remaining steadfast in our faith and committed to God's purposes. Their mission challenges us to examine our own dedication to God. Are we living in a way that reflects our commitment to following Christ? Are we prepared to stand as witnesses to God's truth and grace, even in difficult times? The example of the 144,000 encourages us to deepen our relationship with God, to pursue purity and integrity, and to be bold in sharing the message of His love and redemption. Join the conversation and share your thoughts on the mission of the 144,000. How do you interpret their role in the end times? What lessons can we learn from their example? Let's explore these questions together and gain a deeper understanding of this fascinating biblical narrative. The broader implications for believers today. The story of the 144,000 in the book of Revelation is not just a fascinating end-times narrative, but also holds profound implications for believers today. This group, marked by their faithfulness, purity, and dedication to God, serves as a powerful symbol and inspiration for Christians seeking to navigate their own spiritual journeys in a complex and often challenging world. By examining the broader implications of the 144,000, we can uncover valuable lessons and insights that can strengthen our faith and guide our actions. First and foremost, the 144,000 exemplify unwavering faith and loyalty to God. They follow the Lamb wherever He goes, a phrase that encapsulates total devotion and obedience to Jesus Christ. This level of commitment is a powerful reminder for all believers of the importance of maintaining a close relationship with God. In our daily lives, it can be easy to become distracted by worldly concerns and temptations. The example of the 144,000 challenges us to prioritize our spiritual walk and to ensure that our actions reflect our dedication to God. Their story also underscores the significance of spiritual purity and moral integrity. The 144,000 are described as blameless and without deceit, characteristics that highlight their commitment to living according to God's commandments. This emphasis on purity is particularly relevant in today's world, where moral and ethical standards are often compromised. Believers are called to uphold the principles of righteousness and integrity, even when it is difficult or unpopular. By striving to live blameless lives, we honor God and set a positive example for others. Another key implication of the 144,000 is the concept of divine protection and assurance. The sealing of the 144,000 signifies that they are under God's special care, protected from the judgments that befall the earth. This assurance of protection is a comforting reminder that God is always with us, safeguarding us through the trials and tribulations of life. While we may face challenges and difficulties, we can trust in God's faithfulness and His promise to protect and guide us. The role of the 144,000 as witnesses and evangelists also carries important lessons for believers. Their mission to spread the gospel during the end times highlights the ongoing importance of evangelism and witnessing in our own lives. Every believer is called to share the message of God's love and redemption with others, whether through words, actions, or the example of a faithful life. The 144,000's dedication to this mission inspires us to be more proactive in our efforts to reach out to others and to share the hope and joy of the gospel. Furthermore, the concept of being set apart for a holy purpose is a central theme in the story of the 144,000. Their description as first fruits to God and the Lamb signifies a special dedication and an offering of the best to God. This idea of being set apart is not limited to the 144,000 but extends to all believers. Each of us is called to a unique purpose and mission in God's plan. Understanding and embracing this calling can give our lives greater meaning and direction, helping us to focus on what truly matters. The 144,000 also represent the fulfillment of God's promises and the ultimate victory of His kingdom. Their presence in the narrative of Revelation serves as a testament to God's faithfulness and the certainty of His plans. This assurance is particularly important in times of uncertainty and turmoil. Believers can take comfort in knowing that God's purposes will prevail and that His promises are true. This confidence in God's sovereignty can provide strength and resilience in the face of adversity. Reflecting on the story of the 144,000 also encourages believers to examine their own spiritual readiness. The end times, as described in Revelation, are marked by significant trials and tribulations. The 144,000 are prepared and protected for their mission, reminding us of the importance of being spiritually prepared for the challenges we may face. This preparation involves deepening our relationship with God, grounding ourselves in His Word, and cultivating a strong and resilient faith. Additionally, the 144,000's blamelessness and purity call us to a higher standard of holiness. In a world that often promotes compromise and moral relativism, the example of the 144,000 challenges us to pursue a life of holiness and to strive for purity in all areas of our lives. This pursuit of holiness is not about perfection but about a sincere and ongoing commitment to align our lives with God's will and to reflect His character in our actions. The narrative of the 144,000 also invites us to reflect on the broader themes of justice and redemption in Revelation. The end times are depicted as a period of divine judgment and the ultimate triumph of good over evil. The 144,000, as part of this narrative, symbolize God's redemptive work and His commitment to bringing about justice and restoration. This perspective can help us understand our own role in promoting justice and seeking reconciliation in our communities and the world at large. In practical terms, the story of the 144,000 encourages us to live with a sense of purpose and urgency. Knowing that God has a specific plan and mission for each of us, we are called to actively seek and fulfill our God-given purposes. This involves using our gifts and talents to serve others, engaging in acts of kindness and compassion, and being a positive influence in our spheres of influence. Finally, the 144,000 story is a reminder of the communal aspect of faith. They are not just individual believers, but a collective group that represents the fullness of God's people. This highlights the importance of community and fellowship in the Christian faith. We are called to support and encourage one another, to grow together in faith, and to work collectively towards God's purposes. Building strong, supportive faith communities can enhance our spiritual growth and provide a foundation for mutual support and accountability. In conclusion, the broader implications of the story of the 144,000 in Revelation offer valuable lessons and insights for believers today. Their faithfulness, purity, and dedication serve as powerful examples for us to follow. Their story challenges us to deepen our relationship with God, to strive for holiness, to share the gospel, and to live with a sense of purpose and urgency. By reflecting on their example, we can gain a deeper understanding of our own calling and be inspired to live out our faith with greater devotion and commitment. Join the conversation and share your thoughts on the broader implications of the 144,000. How does their story inspire you in your own spiritual journey? Let's explore these questions together and grow in our understanding of this fascinating biblical narrative.